It's the Brian and Kindra Show with Brian Cook and Kindra Cox of Keller Williams Realty Elite.
I am Kindra Cox.
I'm Brian Cook.
Between the two of us, we have over 30 years of experience.
Sharing real estate tips and advice. Right here on Classic Hits 1073.
Hey, it's the Brian and Kindra Show. We're here. It's Thursday night. Live in the radio station again.
We are live in there. We didn't get to be live last week, did we?
No, we did not.
It was my fault this time.
It was your fault. You were playing in the mountains.
I had just got to Pueblo, Colorado. Yep. What's the matter, Mike? Do you want us to introduce you?
I thought it was going to be the Brian and Mike show. We had
What?
the Kindra and Mike show.
I know, we was going to do that. And then she said, it's not allowed.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever. I asked you a little bit ago, hey, are you good for this? And you're like, we'll see. Yeah, he was trying to ditch us. It was going to be the Mike and Kindra show again.
Yep.
That's right. Then I thought, you better be there. Just prove I'm valuable. Make sure I keep my position.
You are. We need you to do the run-in. All right, so the Brian and Kindra Show. I'm Kindra Cox, your Brian Cook. But today we also have Mike Gossett with On Point Land Survey.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
What time did I text you today? Oh, I called you.
Yes, you did call me.
Man, that was real panic. We also have
just before noon.
What is this guy's job?
Owner.
Okay, so we have the owner of the station.
I know how that
instead
feels
of Branson
when
today.
you don't know how to do anything. So last
Right
week
now,
while Kendra was gone, I messed up everything you could mess up. Every file was wrong. Sign here was wrong. Everything was wrong.
It was pretty awesome. My favorite part was when Brian said, I evidently don't know my email address.
That's right.
We're going to work on spelling next week, guys.
That's right.
All right, so any technical difficulties are Branson's fault because he's not here, right?
That's correct.
That's right.
Okay, got it. All right, Mike. So I don't know what time I called you, but I called you about noon probably, right?
Just before noon, yes, it was.
Yeah, and said, hey, Mike, Brian's not sure he's going to make it tonight. Can you bail us out?
And I did.
I appreciate that
you
so
bet.
much. I was going to bring you Dr.
At least
Pepper
you
and
didn't have to
everything.
remind him this time.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I did
This is a
twice.
lot of fun.
It is fun, isn't it?
It is.
Some of our other sponsors get all nervous. They don't know that it's fun. It's a blast, isn't it?
Well, it's the third time, it's getting a little easier.
You're getting
Yeah.
all right. I mean, we'll keep training
Getting
you.
used to it.
We'll get it.
All right, so today, so we brought you back because after our show last week, you said you were afraid we wouldn't have enough time. Well, how did you say? You thought we would have too much time. You were afraid we would not have enough survey material to talk about in our 20 to 30 minutes, and you were ready to talk about the home buying process. So That's what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first, I know you were dying, Mike, to give us the stats.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mike actually reads the stats.
Yes.
This is my favorite part of the show, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
It really is.
Lanta.
I look forward to
Yes.
it.
I just gagged a little.
So in the last 7 days,
Why do you kiss up to him for? I don't kiss up to him, and he writes my paycheck.
well, okay, there's 52 active listings in Woodward. So
Okay.
that's about the same as it's been the last 3 or 4 months. I mean, we're
But it's going down.
going down. Last week, 2 weeks ago, it was 51.
So you didn't do these while I was gone, did you?
No.
You said,
I'll
I'll
do
do
'em.
these and I'll just post
And
a
then I
video.
thought, man, nobody's listening but Mike, and I'll just call him and tell him what they are, and then we're in good shape.
Did you and Brian get to talk last week?
Yeah.
So new resident listings in Woodward, there were 4. There are 34 pending contracts in Woodward. 4 of them were new. Last week was 5. Total residential pending in Northwest Oklahoma is 49. So obviously most of them are in Woodward. New pending in Northwest Oklahoma is 4, which are Woodward. So nothing outside of Woodward went under contract in the last 7 days. We had 8 closings.
This is my favorite part.
4 of those were the Brian and Kindra Show.
Yay!
So we closed half of the stuff in Woodward. And then there was only 10 all of Northwest Oklahoma in the last 7 days. So we are down to 2.94 months of inventory.
Okay, have you ever seen it that low?
Yes.
I guess probably in 2008, 9, 7.
2007, we had 17 houses on the market.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
It was insane. It was...
And like our buyers looked at all 17 houses.
Yes. It's like, all right.
Like legit. It was the weirdest dang
Let's go
thing.
look, everything.
We're
There was
approved for
nothing.
200,000, but we're going to look at everything up to it because
Yeah.
it was
you
so
do?
bad. So bad.
So it is dropping a little bit, so which should push prices up a little bit.
But no promises because
No
this is the
promises.
weirdest dang
It
thing
is
I've
the
ever
weirdest,
seen.
like we lose an inventory and then the prices drop. So We don't have the mass chaos as Oklahoma City, multiple
Thank
offer stuff
goodness,
yet.
I'm going to say it again. I don't want to have 17 multiple offers.
I think
it's stressful for everyone.
I'm not sure who wins because even the sellers have to
Nobody.
go buy a new house. Even so,
Right. Well, and I think even then so they have to go buy the new house, but they're having the same problem. They're trying to get out on time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the panic and trying to decide who you're going to pick, because those offers are all coming in really close together.
Yep.
Man, it breaks my heart. But it makes me the saddest for those buyers, because that pushes out most of our new first-time home buyers, pushes out anybody that needs closing cost assistance. And those are the people we work with the most. And I guess because, I know what it's like to be tight financially. It breaks my heart thinking this guy can't buy a house because the market's too competitive to let him.
It's crazy. So like
Man, I hate it.
like NAR showed, national average was 64. This was about a month ago. 64% of the listings of the sold contracts sold for above asking price in the United States, and then 22 or 23% sold for cash
Really?
because you couldn't get loans on them. They said it was like a huge, one of the most precedented amounts of cash closings that they'd had.
Isn't that crazy?
So-
I think the thing that surprised me most about all of this too is that all of this is coming out of the quarantine period last year with COVID. So COVID happened, and I think that took all of us by surprise in 2020. I
Yeah.
remember, who knew at the beginning of spring break how that was going to turn
Yeah.
out, right?
Yes.
I don't even have kids at home. I do, but not school kids. That was a shock. And we thought nothing was going to happen. We thought that was going to be the worst year ever, and it was our best year to date. And then all of this crazy housing market has come out of that. That is the weirdest thing to me.
At the first of 2020, we were just a dead ending. Like it was like,
Well, exactly a year ago, I think we had over 100 houses on the market, and we're at like a 9 or 10%. Did you print both of your pages?
I didn't.
We were at 9 or 10%. I just forgot that term.
months of
I
inventory.
was really smart till then, but it's gone, so we're done. Let's just take our break.
Yeah, months of inventory.
Yes, 9 or 10 months of inventory a year ago. That's nuts.
Yeah.
What a change.
And again, months of inventory means if we didn't list another house, we would sell everything in the market in 2.94 months.
Versus
3
10
months.
a year ago.
Yeah.
Man, okay. So we are going to take a quick break, unless you want to tell me about this note. I don't know what this means on my paper, but maybe Mike will tell me over the break.
Yes.
So, all right. So we will be right back.
We are back.
Did you just ask where Hank's trail is?
I have been out of it today.
You have been a little bit out of it today.
But hey, whatever.
But hey, whatever. Okay, so we are going to talk about purchasing real estate from the buyer's perspective. Because last time that you were in, you bought a house this last year. When did you close on it?
February.
Oh, it was this year.
Yes, it was this year. Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
really new to you.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting.
We
Okay,
didn't even
so
burn it down with the 4th of July, even though we got supplied.
Did you try?
Mega.
did you try to burn it
Mega
down over
supply.
Fort
We
Supply?
did
Over
not.
Fort Supply?
Fourth of July.
Mega supply.
4th of July?
I saw it for supply.
No, we did not try, but we did start a fire. So a little one. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed it. That sounds like fun. All right, so we're going to talk about this from...
Because you weren't invited.
Oh, wow. That sounded a little passive aggressive, didn't it
Just
there?
kidding.
Man, if Branson were here, I'd feel better, but okay. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple of different things. You had said there's some things that you wish that you had done differently in your home buying process. So do I need to remind you what they are, or do you
It's
remember?
things that I've learned from listening to you guys on the show. Like,
Oh, I love that part. I'm sorry, say that again.
yes, things that you guys have taught me through the Brian Kindra Show.
Thanks, man. I didn't even pay you to
Yes.
say
That
that.
now that I've done the process and closed, I wish I would have done. Yeah. So
Awesome. Okay, so what's number one?
pre-approval
Tell me why.
saves a lot of time
Okay, so that's...
and
Yeah.
worry.
I think that's the big part right
It is the
there,
big one.
the worry.
I didn't know if I was going to be approved for.
So tell me what you did. So did you make your offer first,
Yep.
and then your offer was accepted,
Yep.
and then you had to get pre-approved?
Then I went to the bank.
No kidding. Which is funny because a lot of our sellers are like, are they pre-approved? No? Okay, well, I'm not going to answer until we know that they're pre-approved. So really, you kind of even lucked out.
Lucky me.
Well, a lot of the time, the agent will listen and interview and ask interview questions, approving questions. So have you owned your home? Yes. Are you Are you comfortable with your payment? Oh, I don't have a payment. Oh, okay, well, that qualifies that you own your house free and clear. You know, you have what kind of job, how long you've been there. So we kind of ask some of the questions the lender asks. One, building the rapport and the relationship, but then also some of those questions are verifying that you are approved. Like, yeah. More than likely this guy can go get a loan.
Right.
It's how so our sellers, sometimes we show houses. So when you walk in if you'd walk in my office today and say, hey, I want to go look at houses. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I need to get to know you. So we're going to jump in my truck and we're probably going to go look at vacant houses. So we're not intruding upon the sellers who are living there. We're going to build rapport. We're going to figure out what you're doing. We're going to try to connect you with a bank or lender or something to get you pre-qualified. We'll try to pre-qualify you as best we can. And then we're going to move into, hey, okay, we've looked at all these. We kind of know what you want. Now let's call the bank and verify that you're qualified for exactly what you're qualified. Because even me...
Tell your story. Do you mind?
Yeah, I don't mind. So I have 800 credit score. I had enough money to put 20% down.
We're not talking like a $60,000 property. I mean, you bought a nice property.
Yeah, and so I just went out, made the offer, wrote the contract, got the deal done, went to the bank, said, here's what we want to do. And they said, well, you don't qualify.
Which sounds crazy. I mean,
Yes.
that is incredible credit.
It's crazy.
And I mean, you've been in the business since 2002, so you've got longevity on your
Right.
on your work.
We even pushed it to 50% down, and he said, you don't qualify for any of the money.
Wow.
And so it was because I'd started a new company, and so the pay stuff looked funky, and so they wanted 2 years tax returns inside the new company, or at least 1 year tax return inside the new company, 2 years of full company. So all of that being said, my wife is a teacher. She qualified. So,
man, it's a good thing
but
you
we
got
had to
her.
move real quick, and then we had to so I had to file. So even for her to get qualified, I had to file some tax return for this year, and then I had to do some other things to make it all flow. So I had to jump through hurdles because I still wasn't even qualified. So I had to go commercial loan.
You didn't even follow your own advice.
I know.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
I was maybe a little. I don't know.
Well, let's just not even go
Yes.
there. All right. So anyway, so be pre-approved. So I think my favorite part of what you said is that it's less stress on the buyer. Buying and
Definitely,
selling is so stressful.
Yes.
One of our transactions that we closed this week, it lasted forever, and I mean, I want to
of them, both
cry
of them
just
did.
think that's true. I want to cry thinking about it. Everyone did their best, but just some circumstances with that particular lender. It was not a local lender, and I think that was part of our battle. It was very, very, very challenging on the buyer. So the less stress that we can put on the buyer, the better for everyone. We want you to be happy and excited. It's an exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
So, which goes into number 2. I think yours was extra, extra exciting, because how long have you been looking for a house?
2 years. We looked for 2 years before I found one that I liked.
And you said 2 years, but I swear you and I talked years ago in my other office, and you had something in your mind then. This is what I want. Like, you've known what you've wanted for a long time.
Yes.
So,
Just waiting for the means to get what I want. So
Oh, you mean you were trying to make sure you were financially prepared?
yes,
Brilliant.
absolutely.
What's that like? All right, so number 2 from you is to be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that. So what does that look like? I mean, what does house shopping look like if you're being patient? I'm not a patient person.
Oh, did I say
You're
that out loud?
not.
Did I agree to that?
Wow.
I'm not. Like, you're not either. Just kidding. You are. Dang it.
Maybe a little.
I'm not patient. Like, I want what I want. I want it now. And I don't understand why we can't just, go ahead, just take care of things and get them done. Right? And, I mean, in some ways, you kind of spoil me with that, Brian, because you are very quick. Like, so at work, if I'm like, well, I need this, you're like, da-da-da, and like, you just whip stuff out. And I'm like, I don't even know how he does that. That's why it comes up Brian in my phone. So that's I'm just going to blame it on you. My mom's like, no, she's always been that way, but she's not listening, so.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm not a patient person. Tell me how to be patient in the home buying process. Tell me how to be patient in what I'm looking for.
I had to be patient to get my style. That's what I had to wait for.
How many houses do you think you looked at?
Well, we looked at 3.
How many times
that
did
was
we
it.
look at them?
Oh, we looked at one of them 10 times to make sure
Yeah.
that it wasn't my style. It was close, but just wasn't going to work.
And then
I
the
still
thing
think it
about-
would have worked.
I think it would. And then to be patient. To be patient also. So some people don't have the flexibility to be patient. Like they're moving to Woodward and they need a house in 2 weeks.
I couldn't imagine. That
and
would
so,
be
yeah,
very
so-
difficult.
So I had a customer last week that we showed houses, and then an agent in our office was putting a house on the market. It is a rent house, and it is so rough, and every inch of that house has to be repainted, scrubbed, cleaned, and desanitized, like the whole
I
thing.
think it needs to be cleaned first.
And I called her and I said, I know you're going to hate this, but this is your best option, and then you get to pick out the colors of paint and the flooring and she's a cash buyer, so it's a lot easier. Like if she's getting a loan, this might be a little more complicated. But, and I told her when she first started, like, hey, everybody hates me when I say this, but sometimes you have to buy the house you hate the least. Like, it's got to fit.
Right.
And if you got to get here, we need to weigh out the things like, what's priority number one? I've got to have 2 full bathrooms. Okay, and then the other thing is, since it's kind of I buy the house I hate the least, sometimes I'm probably just going to move into this house until I find what I love. We're going to sell this one and buy the next one. So then it's basically, hey, I'm trying to buy the best deal I can get so that in a year I can buy the house I want and sell this one. So buy a very sellable, quick move house.
I want to go back to something with you, because I remember one of the houses, the house that I'm teasing you about. Because I asked you, Brian said you didn't buy it because I threatened to have coffee on your deck, which I just think is mean. Caitlin said I could. I said I'd bring pie. Anyway, so that house, the thing that I remember the most is, we almost had to drag you out there. And it was almost the one, wasn't it? But you kept saying, I don't like the way it looks in the pictures. I don't like the way it looks in the pictures. I don't like the way it looks in the pictures. And I think that's the other important thing is, I think we do a pretty good job on pictures. We try really hard, and we try to make things look accurate, but sometimes the pictures just don't do the houses justice.
The house that I purchased looked completely different in person than it did in the pictures.
Exactly.
I fell way more in love with it after I seen it in person
right.
than what the pictures showed.
So I think
Way
that's
more.
important because sometimes we will absolutely make a buyer go and look at a property and we know they're like, well, I don't like it. But it's important because the pictures aren't
really
the house.
is, yeah. It is important.
All right, we're getting the cue that we have to take another break, so we'll be right back.
All right, we're back to the Brian Kindra Show. We got Mike Gossett here with On Point Land Survey, and
Except that today he's also our buyer.
He's
I mean,
our
it's
buyer.
not really our buyer, but he
He's-
just bought a house.
just bought a house, and we're going to talk about all of the hoops and the things that he should have done and the things that he did do. So
All right, so this time I want to talk about you love. Did you just see my eye twitch? It was awesome. I
eyes.
am not
That's
winking.
your finger.
Yes, thanks. Okay. Well, some people are so specific. All right, you love what you found, and you weren't going to jump until you did love it,
Right.
which is
I
again.
didn't have to. I had a house already, so yeah.
So you were in a special situation, which is awesome. But I think that makes your kind of a closing even more exciting. Like you found what you loved, you were able to purchase what you loved, and now you're in what you absolutely love. And I asked you, whenever we went to your birthday party or something, you said, what do you think? And I was like, well, do you love it? And you're like, I'm never leaving. Like, that's a big deal. In Woodward, where we buy the houses that we hate the least, thank you, Brian, like, that's a big stinking deal. So, I want to talk about that in the terms of price.
Okay.
Right now, since I've been in real estate, like, I don't even know how to approach this conversation because nobody wants to talk about money. Sorry, I'm like, and you guys are being quiet, which is not nice.
We're listening.
You're like, gee,
We're
this is
listening
fun.
to
Kendra
you.
is really digging herself a hole.
nobody gives us room to talk. No,
If I got quiet, what would happen?
It would be really quiet.
Okay, so here's the deal. You asked me more than once about how I felt about the amount that you paid for your property.
Right.
Okay, and my words back to you, God, I hope that you remember. Do you remember what I said? I said, what's it worth? It's worth what you paid for it.
Yeah.
Because you loved it and you intend to be there forever. And I think sometimes, like, we kind of kick ourselves about, and we kind of make comments about other people too, which is really unfortunate. Like, we need to stop that. If we love something and we're going to be there, it's okay to pay the top price. Like Woodward gets these high and lows and highs and lows.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. And I don't mean like we should all be overextending our budgets. I hope you did not overextend your budget. That's not what I mean. But it's okay to pay what it's worth. And what it's worth is kind of personal.
Yes.
It really is, yeah.
And then the appraisal. So it comes back to the appraiser. The appraiser comes out and checks your property.
Man.
Well, it's their opinion of what's the value of your house. They can't find anything about emotion or, hey, an east-facing house is a big deal to me because I don't want to sit on the back porch in the sun in the evening. So, like, I'll pay more for that. A cul-de-sac, I'll pay $10,000 more for a cul-de-sac. I don't care. If I'm going to live in town, I'm going to live on a cul-de-sac. I'll pay more for it. That has zero value to an appraiser. So, I want a sprinkled yard. I want a sprinkler system yard because I'm lazy. I don't have time to water my yard. I want to push the button and I want to water that sucker. Because it takes me forever to water my yard now. So, there's things that I'm willing to pay for. It's even just like a shop. A shop has hardly any value in an appraisal, which is frustrating because they cost so much to put up. Mm-hmm. So when you get to the value of your home and you're you're comparing to what the appraiser's value is, they're all numbers and paper. Like they can't take all the emotion out and be like, okay, well, we're dealing with one right now. So what's this facility worth that cost $175,000 to the appraisal? Well, she told me maybe $25,000 or $30,000. Like, that's a big difference between what the guy paid for the facility and then what it's going to appraise for.
And it stinks to be on the buyer's
Yes.
side and to have your appraisal come back less than what your purchase price is. It stinks for the seller for that to happen. And we respect, where the appraiser's coming from. The
Yes.
appraiser's trying to protect the buyer and protect the bank. Or maybe it's protect the bank and protect the buyer.
Right.
But regardless, they have a job to do and they have to do their
And they
job.
have to prove it on paper, what it's worth. They
And
can't
we
be
also
like, well, I
recognize-
feel good about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And three different appraisers might come in with three different values
They
too.
will.
We understand that also because they view the facts differently, which sounds weird, but it's true because we all view properties differently. But I just think it's so important. I just wanted to because you kept asking that and it really kept just sticking in my brain. Man, you should just be happy. Like, it's good to be happy with what you have and you're happy with what you have. And I just think that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I was worried about it at first. But now that I'm in and I live there, yeah, I'm completely fine.
And like I would push back
the
even.
price.
It didn't stop you from doing more.
I had planned in my mind negotiating, getting down on the price. How much can I get them down? Do all this. And as soon as I walked in, I said, I'll take it. Like, I was ready, yeah.
Your
it was-
emotions about the house.
Yeah, really.
Okay, which is important too.
And now,
That's kind
6
of how it
weeks
is.
later, 8 weeks later, I'm fine with it. I'm
Right.
not worried about what I paid for it anymore.
No, and you've already done improvements to your property.
Right.
Which is like that's one of the things that you've already even made it better and better and better. Could you sell it tomorrow and get your money back? Probably not.
Probably not.
But if you're content, our homes are our sanctuary and our refuge. And you found that.
Yep.
And I think that's the value right there is that our homes are our sanctuary and our
Yeah,
refuge.
definitely.
And that's what we want to do. Like we want to help our buyers and our sellers to sell. Like whenever we sell it, it's no longer that safe place. It needs to become a property and it's a business transaction. And for the buyer, it's business until they close. But when they close, man, we want that to be their sanctuary.
Yep.
So anyway, what else? We have 2 more minutes, Mike. Hit me with something.
2 minutes.
Yeah. What else? Anything else important? You bought your
Pre-approval. I think pre-approval is the biggest thing that I wish I would have done. That would have
thought that-
saved a lot of stress on me, on the seller. And that's probably what I stressed about most was the time that it took. I was worried the seller would back out because there were so many other people coming in
Right.
wanting to buy it. That scared me the most, that I was going to lose it.
I think
So,
our sponsor,
I think
Bank 7, would absolutely agree with that.
Yes.
And I think
And
we
it's
have,
so easy to pre-approve, really.
right. And as the market continues down, it's going to be more and more important to being pre-approved because
To be ready to go. Yeah.
ready to go. Because like the house we sold that needs all the work on it,
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you, if it would hit the market, there would be lines of buyers to buy that house.
Right.
She was willing to take it in the rough condition and fix it herself. But if it would have hit the market fixed up, there'd be a line of buyers. And the pre-approved,
Right.
ready, willing, and able buyers are the ones going to get that deal.
Absolutely.
They might even take less if they're ready. You got to be ready.
Right. So, all right, good stuff. We appreciate you coming, and I really appreciate
thanks for
last
having
minute
me.
that we were afraid Brian was going to skip out and I'd be by myself.
We appreciate all our sponsors to let us be able to do this, to educate our community and our town about buying and selling houses, and that to best advantage them, leverage their abilities to purchase a home, get pre-approved. Let us go shopping. We love shopping and hunting that deal. So, again, we appreciate the radio station letting us do this. We got 2 things.
Nice job, boss.
Well, I was like, hey.
That's awesome. All right, I'm Kendra Cox, Keller Williams Realty Elite, 580-216-0090.
I'm Brian Cook.
Classic.